Hey, well, howdy. This is Seamus J. MacIver, the old cargo pilot. I just got up and I just looked in the mirror a minute ago and I was ashamed to see that I had this here gator shirt on when actually I went to this school for a while. I didn't graduate, but I did go to Notre Dame for a couple of years and I'm proud of it, and I call myself an alumnus. Because if you look up the word, you'll find that it actually means somebody who attended a school for a certain reason. It doesn't say they graduated. Of course, my younger brother, he has a fit about that because he, of course, did graduate, as did my older brother. But then he's not a real doctor. He does have a PhD, but it's in psychology. And I always get a kick out of Charlie Sheen and Charlie and Alan in what's the name of the show? The kids on it too, you know. 2.5 Men, that's it. Anyway, once in a while I see them, and Charlie always never wants to call Alan a real doctor, you know, and he teases him about it. So I get the same thing because I am, of course, not from the persuasion of the medical, profession. My father and mother were doctors and nurses. Respectively, and but my dad was a dentist, and some people don't think dentists are real doctors. Well, my brother is a surgeon, although he's a maxillofacial surgeon and an oral surgeon kind of a type. But man, the guy went to school till he was like forever, so he's the real doctor in the family. At any rate, why am I digressing? I'm here to tell you a little bit about myself. They say you got to do this if you want to put something up on the internet that might be worth it to your fellow man. I was a pilot, okay? I flew in Vietnam as a navigator and as a pilot, and actually as a pilot I flew with United Airlines, and they sent me to in support of Vietnam quite a bit during the early years. That would be the 68, 69. I started with them in 65. 5 years in the Air Force before that, 35 years with United Airlines, okay? So I'm, my expertise, I guess you'd have to say, is that I'm an aviator, to say the least. About 23,000 hours, that's a lot of time. I call myself the old cargo pilot because there's a great, one of my favorite jokes, I guess you'd say. I'll tell you about it sometime, it's cute. But anyway, I am the old cargo pilot, Seamus J. MacIver, that's my nom de plume. My buddy Louie kind of coined that a little bit, or at least started calling me that like my dad always did. Seamus is the Irish name for James, and that's what my dad called me, just mostly as a term of endearment. And so I adopted that name for various reasons, one of which is pretty catchy. I'll tell you about it sometime too. But anyway, what are we going to do? My son, Matthew Bernard, named for my father, and maybe my brother. His name is Bernard as well. We call him Bud. But anyway, that's my older brother. My younger brother's Patrick. And I'm going to tell you about some of our history from time to time, but I won't bore you with that anymore right now. Some of the history just has to do with decent stories, so when the story comes up, you'll get a little bit of it from time to time because it helps to enhance the story. I am a storyteller. I'm a shanty Irishman who tells stories. Not really, you know. I guess I am a shanty Irishman, and I guess I do tell stories, but I don't fancy myself any great storyteller, except that I have a few, and I will be telling you about them. But what I want to do for you is, my son Matt and I are wanting to give you some things. We can give you a lot of things. I once drove, my wife and I, who is the gator, by the way, and actually occupies this spot at night. I like to lay down. I got a bad back, you know, a little bit. It's bothered me all my life since I had a fight with my across the street neighbor once, and he pulled a bunch of muscles up and down my back and screwed up my lower lumbar region and that kind of thing. Anyway, so I lie down when I get a chance, and I work with my computer on the, and so hey, if you got any ideas about how to alleviate my pain, I'm listening, babe, you know. I was thinking about getting one of those upside down things, you know, where you can help your you're paying out by hanging upside down, and that supposedly stretches you out or whatever it does. It sounds like good anyway. I might try it. Anyway, back to what my son Matthew, and he's my number 4 son, by the way. Got about 5 of those kids, and a daughter as well, the youngest, who I am well pleased of. She's an actress, been on Lost, has done 30-some plays, is doing 2 of them at the moment in New York. Has lived all over the world. She speaks perfect French because she went to a French grade school, as did my Catholic grade school, as did my son. And then she took lots of French in school. Went to Aix-en-Provence for 2 years in school. Then she graduated from McGill up in Montreal. This is all French Canada, you know, of course. So she's a Frenchie. Anyway, enough about Molly for now. But a lot of these things you can see on my blog. You can see a couple excerpts of her when she was on Lost. And you can see a bunch of ukulele playing. Oh yeah, my ukulele. This is a new one, by the way. I have an older one that's a little broken up right now and needs some fixing. But at any rate, I might play this for you a little bit once in a while because there's a couple of songs that are maybe appropriate and maybe not. Anyway, all of that's later on. Getting back to my son, number 4 son, Matthew. He and I are going to try to make a few bucks on the internet, right? And what we're going to do is tell you initially how you can fly for free. And believe me, you can. This is no BS. You can fly for free. It's not going to be right away. It's kind of a thing you got to do in planning. I did that. It worked for me. It worked for my family. My family flew for free. My mom and dad, all their lives until they died. My brothers have flown on, and kids have all flown on passes and companion passes and that kind of thing, and could still to this day. And so I'm going to tell you how that works. And but you might have to pony up a few bucks that we may or may not give some to charity because we're charitable people and we do that kind of thing. My wife at the moment is doing a very charitable thing. She works couple days a week, drives 100 miles around trip to a therapeutic horse park where she drives, she drives a cart with where they can put a wheelchair on, strap it to the cart, and she can drive them through the woods and stuff like that. And these learning disabled and physically disabled kids, just, you know how, well, you've probably heard how well they adapt to horses, they bond with them, and it's just something that is wonderful for kids like that, and adults as well. Anyway, she likes to go to driving events and things like that, horse driving events, and that's where she is now. Anyway, we'll be introducing her at some later time too, but what is my son going to do? He has some great ideas about how to give you advice on one of his expertises. Which, by the way, has to do with his Dodge Challenger that's a couple years old or so. But my wife and I actually drove it cross country. He lives in Kona, Hawaii, and we put it on a boat to him over in Kona. He got a little trouble with it, too, because it's so darn fast. He was racing a guy one time, and the cops got him. And anyway, he needs to make some money to pay off his student loans and some other things having to do with maybe some of his large fines. At any rate, he's going to teach you about Dodge Challengers, and he may also be able to teach you how to make a few bucks on some of our other endeavors. One of which has to do with, well, you know what? I'll save that till later. I'm going to make this a little bit shorter. All I wanted to do is introduce myself and tell you a little bit about why you should keep tuning in, because the family has some amazing things to tell you. I should say they have to do with some of their escapades, some of the things that could be interesting to you, and at all times we will endeavor to make you guys a few bucks one way or another as well, because there are certain ways that can be done. And we're going to try to convince you that our way is a good way and very reasonably priced. we only charge like $15 for the first two kind of things for a year's worth of E-zines. And you get two of those, by the way, you and as a mentor or give to a mentor who would maybe help you. And that gives you a certain camaraderie so that you can talk about the things that, that can further anything that you have in mind. And what you can do is unlimited if you just get to work at it, actually do something like I'm doing now. Like I said, I just woke up. I'm just going to go and tell you about this stuff at the moment and let you fend for yourself, but we're going to lay things out to you. So once you see this, you'll have a couple of URLs that you should look up, and when you do, you might be amazed at the reason why you should continue on with this. Get our E-zine. It's a bi-monthly thing that you'll learn a lot about aviation. You'll learn a lot about free flying. You'll learn a lot about what my kids, our expert, says. Jim Jr., my real name is not Seamus, it's James. And James McGivern Jr. Owns a recording studio. He's an accomplished musician. We bought him, my ex-wife and I bought him a guitar when he was like, I don't know, 7 or 8, and he's never put it down. Same thing with number 3 son, Dennis, who makes a living with music. He's a techie, and he goes all over the world with several bands that he has actually played warm-up for, and has been in several bands himself. Those two kids have collectively written probably 70 or 80 songs, and some of them are recorded, and some of them are good, and they just, you know, you got to get lucky in that deal. And then my number 2 son is Mikey, and he works actually for a bank, and he does tech work as well. So, you know, you'll be hearing about my kids more, and just hang in there with this, okay? And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you see. You can't beat it from $5 to $15 for just what we're going to impart to you as far as knowledge that'll do you some good for the rest of your life, okay? So I'm going to turn this off now, and hang in there with us. Look for our additional emails that we send you, and opt out for that E-zine because you will not be sorry. Okay, bye.